Um, thank you, Sheena. We got special guest today, a good friend of ours, Mr. Kolaiah Jardine. Took a lot of work and effort to get him out of the water to come do this call. So I appreciate you, brother.
I got sand in my toes right now.
Yeah, I bet. Fuzzy's a water man.
What a man.
All right. Okay, let's rock and roll. Hi, Zasha. Thanks for having me on your call. I was just on Zasha's Instagram live, and that was the first time I did an Instagram live. I hope it went well. I can never tell with Zoom sometimes, and you can't read the room really.
Should I have Fuzzy on Instagram live? He has some pretty good Instagram posts. Pretty funny.
You
Fuzzy
too.
needs his own show.
We follow. Although while people follow the Maui people because you guys do all the TikTok shows. Classic. I'm digging what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's jump right into it. Leads, needs, and good deeds. Anybody got anything? I'll start it off. Tim, my friend Tim is in St. Louis, Missouri, and if anybody knows any good contractors or good guys out there, please let us know. I don't think I know anybody in St. Louis, but perhaps someone on the call, you guys recommend anybody, because otherwise his partner Keola's over there swinging the hammer, getting it done himself.
Yeah,
that's called getting it done.
We live on Oahu, but we're investing in St. Louis, so he's flying up there to do the rehab on our current rental. But if anyone has a contractor that you know is good, drop it in the chat box. Much appreciated.
Yeah, right on, Tim. Yeah, if anyone can help Tim out over there in St. Louis, that'll be great. It's always a little scary to be investing in out of state, especially that far in St. Louis. So, all right. Anybody have anything? Any deals on the line that they're looking at? Let's see.
I actually had a question because I do have one of our projects right now. I had gotten into it because the only way it would work is if I partnered with the contractor. There wasn't really too much room, but it is an older Wailuku town. And so we both, just being local and born and raised here, we're like, okay, this would, even if we didn't make that much money, it would be good to just add to that neighborhood. But right now, we got some setbacks. We have a few other projects going on. So we're kind of looking to sell it. So if anybody is interested, I guess, reach out to me or message me on here while the show is going on, and we can, talk about what options we have. But I actually wanted to talk to you, Corey, or whoever on this call. Have you ever worked with, because what I really wanted to do, and this is like my end game, right? But if I can try to do something now, I would like to. So I was reaching out to my friends and saying, hey, do you guys, are you looking to do like a 203K loan or, some kind of renovation loan where it would make sense to help them build basically a custom home in Wailuku, or if there's any other ideas that you guys have. So basically a mini kind of, not development, but a ground up kind of deal. Everything has to be redone, but just trying to figure out a way that we could add to the community or help like a local person out to get a really nice home. I called the HUD office to see if they had any like programs like that, but I guess they don't really do it in the lending side. They just kind of help people in need get the loan, but not necessarily fund it.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same deal, right, that you're talking about?
Yeah.
So can you talk about the deal? Like maybe what is the deal? Is it a fix and flip? Is it ground up construction?
Yeah, so it's fix and flip. It was an older home, I think in the 1900s or 19, I don't know, it's really old. So we basically started the rebuild process. We have to go through permitting, but we're also doing a few other projects. And so I have one main contractor. I do have several other ones. However, we already put a bunch of costs into it. That it's not really making sense for us to keep it unless we can get like a retail end buyer and kind of work with them through the process. But yeah.
Do you know how much you'd sell it for yet or no?
Yeah, probably. Well, we're all in right now at 420. So
420.
And then
that's your favorite number.
and then
we're talking about all in costs here.
I
not-
know.
yeah.
I know.
well, okay, so 420, and then how much do you think to finish the renovation?
I'm thinking probably around 120.
120, okay. And then
And the ARV is around 650.
okay. That's a nice spread.
Yeah, there's still a little on there, but it's just gonna be the timing with the permit, the building permit. So
Is that in process? You said that's in progress already?
we have to submit the drawings and everything.
Oh,
We
okay,
haven't
so
done
it
that
hasn't
yet.
gone in
Yeah.
yet? Okay,
But they would have to be, the timeline would have to include that.
right. You know, how is the permitting process in Maui? Actually, I've never. Oh, okay. It can't be worse than Honolulu.
I am literally trying to close out a permit from 2018. Okay. And after the fact permit, I bought a home that had an existing permit. It expired. Oh my gosh. They're just putting me through the ringer with this one. And it's not even, it's like an extension of a master bedroom. So it's not adding rooms, it's not adding bathrooms. It's just, it gets crazy. I don't know. So yeah, there's just a lot more things that they can ask. And even now, even though it's after the fact, I'm taking full responsibility for anything that goes wrong. Everybody is finally on the same page except for electrical. And now they want us to open up walls. They want us to change out all these breakers, which I have no problem with, but every time they come, then they keep asking for more. So it's like, okay, this was supposed to be the final walkthrough where you're supposed to inspect what the last guy asked to do. And then, yeah, so it's
Right.
just to give you a little snippet of what it's been like for this one house. But typically, if it's a new build, you have plans and everything, it'll probably take 6 to 6 months for the permits to get approved. And then after that, the build, right?
Mhm.
So another 4 to 6 months for the build.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. If you guys are interested, feel free to contact.
I shouldn't have said this first part. I didn't mean to scare anybody away, but
No, I'm sure. I mean, there's a spread there. Permitting, yeah, can be a hassle, but it's never stopped us
Doable.
really. I mean, it's literally stopped us before. In fact, right now I'm waiting on permit like 2 more weeks, I think, but like it won't stop us from buying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe Zasha, if you can drop your contact too, if you want in the chat, then somebody can reach out to you. If maybe call Ernesto too. He seems to have like an insatiable appetite for deals. All right. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share or anything they need? Or good
I got
deed?
something I wanted to put out there real quick.
What's up, G?
I'll go ahead, Corey. I got a friend who just got his contractor license, electrical contractor, and I'm not sure if any of the groups running short on labor. He's on Oahu. He's been doing smaller jobs, but now with the contractor license, he can do bigger projects. So I'll put my email in the chat, and if anybody needs an electrical contractor, let me know.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Gene. Contractors are always good to at least call, and see, because yeah, good work's hard to find, especially when the surf is up. Might see Fuzzy out there with the boys, But
I go on
All
flat
right.
tire today.
oh, I've heard that one before. I've heard that one, flat tire.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, if anybody else does
Hey, Corey.
or something, yep.
Hey, Corey, I got one. I actually talked to some other people in the group, but I have a ground up down on Kona side of the Big Island, actually in Waikoloa. And we are looking for funding just for the land for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie that into a hard money line once we get the permits through, save a little bit on Dutch interest. And that way, we are looking for our last 90K out of the, or we're looking at to fund at least 290. So we need another 90K out of the 290. Build will be around 450,000. Comps are looking right around that $1 million range in that area since it's in Waikoloa. If you guys want or need any other information, I have a perform on some promissory notes and stuff.
Perfect. Okay. So you guys need 90 more.
What are you? What's the terms you're looking for the night?
So again, we're planning to get in and out of this within 6 months. Once the permitting is done. So what this last part of this lend. So we don't want to hold that money longer than that. Once we get the permitting through, we want to refinance out through a hard money lender, and anybody left on will be taken off at that time. We're looking around 10 to 12%, depending on the person. We're willing to go higher just because it's the last part.
Perfect. So 6 months, 90,000, 10 to 12%. If anybody's interested, feel free to reach out to Blaze. And where'd you say this is? Waikoloa?
Yeah, Waikoloa.
Gotcha. Right on. Thanks, Blaze. You dropped your contact there in the
Yeah, we'll
chat?
do.
Oh yeah. Perfect. All right, guys. If anybody has anything else, just drop it in the chat or unmute. But today,
quick question, bro. I wanted to throw out a quick question, Corey.
Yeah. What's up, Kelly?
Yeah, what's up, brother? So I just wanted to get some thoughts from the group. One of my off-market acquisitions, I'm in negotiations right now. I'm trying to structure it where the person that I'm dealing with is representing the sellers who's it's basically family members, and she's a family member, but she's not involved in the deal, not on title. However, we're negotiating the price right now, and basically not like she needs a fee, but she's basically put that out there, right? As far as because she's the facilitator and mediator, and I'm wanting to know what you guys' thoughts are on like, how would you guys pay that person out? Outside of that actual, whatever that number ends up being, or is it you include that in the price and you put that on the contract, or I'm just curious.
Who and what is her role? Like, what value is she bringing?
He is the daughter of the mother who's on title, along with her. So the mother and the brother, basically, her uncle is on title, but she's mediating, facilitating the deal with me. So I'm on the buy side, and she's just representing them, just because they're not, savvy as far as paperwork and don't understand real estate. So I've been going. She's basically the conduit.
And you're the buyer, right?
I'm the buyer, yeah.
And okay. So did she bring the deal to you, or like is she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah. I don't know. What does everyone else think? What is the purchase price?
Right now, well, I'm looking at the house tomorrow. It's not where I need it to be. So right now it's at 450, but I need it at 4.
She's not a licensed realtor, right?
She is.
Oh.
And it's an off-market acquisition. So she's talking to her broker about how to go about this thing, but wants to do it off-market just because the paperwork and whatnot. So we're in this kind of like, disclosing all of this and trying to figure it out. Obviously, I'm on that side as well. So I'm open to whatever. I mean, like, we're putting it in the contract and making it known, but it's like the payout part, right? She's like, well, I don't want to lose my license. So how does this work out? I mean, like, what's the best way to go about it? Because they don't want to do the commission thing, right? And that's the big thing. But obviously, she's been facilitating it, so she would like to make, I guess you would call it a commission or some type of thing, but don't have to. So she's just not sure how to go about it. So if anybody's encountered this, just want to throw this out to the group. What would be the best way to structure this?
That's a tough one.
I don't know. It just sounds like it should just be a seller's side commission to me,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But I feel like I'm missing part of it. I mean, she brought the deal to you, but I don't know. Seems like
She's
seller
saying
side.
that, you know what, it really, I don't need to make anything, but it'd be nice. I would love for it to be off market because I don't want it to get paperwork and we got to go do this and that. So I just want my mom then to be happy with the amount, and then I'm done with it. So I'm representing them, but also if I would like, so I'm like, okay, cool, that makes sense. I would definitely do that. So don't want to hold up any time. I just wanted to throw that out there if anybody had any quick ideas. If not, feel free to holler at me later.
Yeah, couldn't she just do it as a sold before listed pocket listing? Then all she has to do is report it to MLS, and charge 2.5% or whatever she wants.
I hear you.
Yeah.
She could possibly wholesale it to you as well. I don't know what the rules are in Hawaii for that, but she could probably be the wholesaler where she purchased it from her mom and the dad and assigns the contract to you and gets an assignment fee. Of course,
want to do that, yeah, because
you got to talk to your broker and MLS, all that stuff. That's the problem with becoming a realtor is you have all the rules.
yeah, exactly.
One thing I was gonna say, Corey and Keone, another option is if you don't want to get into like the complicated parts about commission and fiduciary responsibility and things like that, and avoid all of that. I think you could bake in her fee into the purchase price and have her parents or whoever the owners are pay out whatever her referral fee might be. That might be kind of a cleaner option and kind of absolve you guys of any type of responsibility for commissions and things.
Thanks, John. That's where I was leaning towards. I wasn't sure if that's why I said like put it in the purchase price or whatnot. So awesome. And I appreciate everybody's feedback. Yeah, I like that method too. We'll have a conversation tomorrow about it as well.
Yeah. And like if she were to take commissions, it'd probably be roughly like 10,000, right? 420 purchase price, 2.5%. I'm guessing that's about 10 or a little under 10. So I don't think more than 10. If anything, half of that, maybe, I don't know.
It'll be less. We verbally talked about, where she needed to be. So for sure, it's definitely doable. And I think it makes sense to pay her out. I just wasn't sure how to do it. And I was thinking the way John just mentioned to do it that way, and they can handle it the way whatever way they want to disperse. I'll put it in the contract and just bake it in there. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
So are you in contract already?
Tomorrow. So we've drafted it out already. I just need to get hands on it. Everything's been sight unseen. And they have technically their family living in their tenant. So I just need to see it. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats, bro.
Well, we'll see. I don't want to count it before it hatches, but yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Right on, Keone. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna hand this over to and introduce Fuzzy, who is he goes by Fuzzy since I think small kid time. So, but his name is Kolaiah, and honestly, one of the most genuine and awesome guys. Good friend of ours, and someone who I've told this to a few people, but like I would trust with my life, So, and Fuzzy has a great story. Born and raised local boy, but doing some great projects, and I wanted to kind of bring him on to talk about his latest what's going on with what he's doing, and especially because we just did a big closing for 6 of his properties now. So welcome, Fuzzy.
What's up, gang? Aloha.
and Fuzzy has is it YouTube? I think YouTube or and Instagram called Puka Pockets. I love it. So
I don't know. We tried doing something, and then I'm not too akamai with social media, so I'll post here and there, and I have other people do that for me.
Yeah.
I don't even own a laptop, so that's how old school I am.
Yeah, I was telling, I was telling Fuzzy, I was like, "Bro, you're so old school that you're new school." He doesn't have a laptop that now he does everything from his phone, which is kind of like, I wish I could do that.
See this
Yeah.
pen? This pen does miracles.
It just shows, you can run an operation with just your phone from nowadays. So, but
Yeah.
thanks Fuzzy for jumping on. And first, you want to just talk about what you got going on, like a little bit about your story. You can dive however deep you want because you have a great story, but tell everybody like who you are, what you do.
Okay. I was born and raised in Waimanalo with my family. And then my grandparents, they kicked us out of Waimanalo. It was like a lease land. It was on Kiapai Street. Not Kiapai, that's Kailua. Hihimam Street, sorry, where the Waimanalo gym is. So I grew up in the back roads. And then they kicked all the people that were living on this lease land out. And my grandparents moved to the Big Island. And they ended up in Hawaiian Acres, in Hilo side, the Puna district. And then my mom stayed in Kailua. So I'd go back and forth with my grandparents because they kind of uneyed me. And then back with my mom when my grandfather would be like, bad boy. I was bad boy and I would have to get kicked back to my mom. So I was back and forth. But anyway, my grandfather was a journeyman sandblaster and painter. And we kind of grew up on a farm up there and raised, pigs and stuff like that, farm animals. So at a young age, I was always on his job sites. So construction was always in, my blood. And then pretty much, I don't know, when I would move back to Kailua with my mom, I would always, go surfing. And, that became my passion. And I did that pretty much throughout all my intermediate and high school and until now. And then I don't know, like I've always wanted to become get involved with real estate. And eventually just the group that came into Hawaii flipped this house. I ended up going to their meeting and I knew they were gonna sell me something. But I went and what they were talking about made sense to me. And they said they were looking for a few people that they wanted to be part of their team. And I was in my head, I'm going to be part of their team. So at that time, my parents were going through foreclosure in Kailua. And I ended up signing up. I paid, a lot of money. I signed up with them, but then the person that was signing me up with the program, I told her I wanted to help my parents. So they put me in touch with one of the coaches, a husband and wife. They're pretty well known in this group. And anyway, long story short, I became part of the team. They came to help my parents out. And ended up, they didn't they kind of put information in my parents' head of what they could do with the property. But then my parents didn't do it because my brother stepped in and told them, oh, you can get more money for this. It's in Kailua. So anyway, they ended up listing it with one of my friends. I don't know, you know Dante, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Dante listed it, and our neighbor across the street bought it for more than they were asking. So they ended up cashing out and then buying a homestead in Kapolei. So they live in Kapolei now.
Good.
But
Okay.
When I joined that program, I guess, they tell you to post signs, bandit signs, which is illegal in Hawaii. But I'm crazy. I'll do stuff that you're not supposed to. So I went out broad daylight with my ladder, put it on the telephone pole, nailed it up, like, traffic, food traffic. And I had this guy named Corey call me. But at this time I was snowboarding in Utah. I'm like, oh, what's up? Hey, you don't sign in Wamanalo? Oh yeah. But anyway, yeah, I got involved with real estate, and then I put a sign on Craigslist. And what happened was somebody from the Big Island contacted me. He was a developer there, and he said, "I'm selling a new house." Like, what? And I said, "Yeah, we buy houses cash." I didn't have no cash, but like the people that I was working with, the coaches, they had, they had the cash, whatever. So I turned it on to them, and then we ended up negotiating, getting a contract together, sent it over to him, and for some reason he didn't do it, but he ended up going with a guy named Mike Mazzella instead. And so that passed, and I was still learning, the program. There's a program that you got to watch videos and do your coaching calls and stuff like that. And then I kept in touch with this developer, and I called him like maybe 3 months later, and I asked him, "Hey, you still got that house?" And he said, "Oh no, but I got more projects in line." And he said, if I send this, the information to you, would you be interested? I said, "Yeah, I could probably find the money." So what I basically did was got his information, looked at it. It made sense because his cost to build was so cheap, and the comps were showing like 100, 80 to 100 grand profit after the house was done. So what happened was, in the group that I'm in, we put in I put in the Facebook group, I put in the business plan, and like 5 people contacted me, and then 2 people were serious, and then 1 stuck. And they're friends from Maui, and they no longer live in Maui, but they moved to Florida now, to take care of their parents. But we're still friends. But they put up the money to fund our first deal with this developer in Big Island, and we became a 3-way partners, JV partners. So the developer had a higher percentage because he had the system, the team, and then I was the straggler, which I didn't care. I was learning, right? And then the people who brought the money, which was my partners, they got a higher percentage. So we did our first deal. I think it cost us about 165. I think this was in 2015 or 16. And our cost to build this with land was like about 165. And then
All
we
in?
ended up, yeah,
That's all in cost?
all in, yes.
Oh,
And then we sold it for 265. And we
wow.
did this in Hawaiian Paradise Park, like I think it's like 25 minutes away from Hilo Airport.
How big is the house? 'Cause that's a small.
So the house was 1,600 square foot living and 2,200 square foot total. Yeah.
Oh,
So his cost was super low. But
yeah.
while the process, I was flying back and forth to watch the whole process alongside with him. And then I was able to learn what he was doing, and then we did about 2 or 3 more deals with him. And then I had some funds. I did like there's a company that they give you credit, like credit cards and lines of credit. So they promised me that I could get like $130,000 worth of lines of credit and credit cards, and I paid them like 9%. So the developer told me, "Hey, look, I could do a house for you all in, well, not all in, but the construction costs all in 100K. I had already bought a property for like 9K. No, it was 8,000, sorry, in Ainaloa, which is
The
right.
land.
Yes. And it was a quarter acre. And this was like 2016, around 2016, 2017. And we built it, right? But at that time, I'm not sure what happened. He stopped doing his job. So it forced me to fly back to the Big Island and finish the project pretty much by myself. So whatever subs that were already on the job, the GC, the electrician, the plumber, I ended up had to communicate with them and finish the project. I had 14 credit cards on this deal. So what happened was it went past the 12 months of the 0% interest. So the interest was killing me. It was 18 months total from start to finish when I sold the property. I think I lost 40 grand, but I was able to pay that debt off because I had other projects going on besides this one. And it was a great learning lesson because from that, I learned how to do ground up construction from start to finish. And pretty much, I mean, I can go anywhere and do a brand new build because I've learned the process it takes, the people who is involved, and then you know, I actually helped Corey do a couple, yeah.
Yeah, and you still are. So Fuzzy and his partner Simote are they do our ground up as well. So he has a lot of experience in ground up construction, which is a different ball game, you know. And it took me a while to understand that the financing sometimes is different. You know, the capital stack is different sometimes. The lead times are longer. Most of the work is done up front with the planning and the permitting, right? But then you got to think about like the infrastructure, right? Because where you guys build, there's no water, right? So you guys put in catchment systems, septic tanks, and just understanding all of the nuances between that. You know, ever since like I've learned about development and building, like I have so much more respect for when you see like a house kind of in the middle of nowhere, you know, or even in the big cities, like these big buildings, like you forget how much like planning has to go into that, like bringing electrical, like power and water and where does the waste go, you know, all the planning for that.
Right. Yes. I mean, so, you know, it's, I love doing it, you know, and since then, like 2016, 17, like besides the projects that I've managed on Oahu, Big Island was like, I was always doing stuff there, whether it was my personal funds or partners' funds, you know. I'd rather, like, no offense to hard money, right? Because right now I'm working with hard money and I don't like it, but it's allowing me to leverage funds and do a little bit more and step out of my comfort zone. And I didn't realize how easy it was until I stepped out of my comfort zone and did it. It's more projects, but it's the same system that I use from start to finish. The only thing is just more, I guess, more houses to build, more management. But the team that I have is the team that you have is very important. Everybody's got to be, or got to know who you are, what you want, and be on a timeline, because things can get crazy if you're doing multiple projects. And with this one, I told Corey, oh, I'm scared, man. I'm scared because when they loaned me 1.3, 1.4, whatever it was, I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of money. More than, you know, I could taste, I guess. But the 6 projects that I'm doing with the hard money was funded. We already had purchased the land. Well, let's back up a little. Corey called me and said, hey, I think we got a brand new construction product that I might want you to check out. So anyway, I said, okay, show it to me. And because I had done multiple projects, I have credibility. I was able to get on their, you know, what they call that, platinum status or something.
Oh, you got that platinum level. Okay. I never even know. That's the highest tier.
No, because I've done more than 10 projects within the last 3 years. Yeah.
Yep.
either managed or under my own company. So anyway, yeah, I looked at it. It made sense. We ran the numbers, and but I'm a person that wants to jump ahead. So what I did with my partner, so I have a partner on this one, who put up the funds. He put up the funds to purchase the land, all 6, put up the funds for all the planning, the surveying, and the bulldozing. So prior to closing this loan, like we just closed like a week and a half ago, right? Or 2 weeks, a week and a half. I already had land flattened, so I'm not sure if I can share my screen for it.
Can we give
Yes, he
Um,
can.
okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. I hope I don't have naked pictures on here. Okay, I don't. So I'm just joking. Oh boy. Anyway, so okay, I just gonna go from start. Like, location is key. Anytime you do business, and just like you guys doing flips, location is key. Time on market, right? How
Yep.
much land is going for? What are other properties going for? The key is to purchase it cheaper than what it's selling for. And that's what I look for. That's the number one thing that I look for is it going to fit my budget? Right? If it doesn't fit my budget, I don't even look at it.
Right.
The other one that I look at is comps. What is, once the thing is done, right? The house is finished. What size house? How much bed count? How they look? And how long they stay on the market. And that's what gives me a ballpark figure of what it's going to cost, or what is my profit potential. I already know my building costs because I've been doing this for a while. So because I do multiple, I asked my contractors and my subcontractors to give me a lower rate. And if they can't meet my budget, then I go to the next one. So planning, the picture you see on the top, it's just a house that we kind of created, a 2-bedroom. So I did like around 10 of these. I think I did two with Todd. And the whole goal is to build affordable housing for local families and try and keep at least 1 or 2, as many as we can, in fact, in Hawaii and not move away. And the only place right now that's affordable is the Big Island.
Yeah.
And this allowed me and Todd and my other partners to give back to our local community. All right. So we purchased the land for cheap, fit our construction budget, and we was able to sell 2 houses with Todd. I think it was for a brand new house like this, similar to this, but there was a 2-car carport. I think our cost was about $130 all in, and we sold it for, I think, $175 or something. Profit wasn't as good, but a local family 2 local families, I think, from Honolulu moved over, and they was able to put themselves in a house similar looking to like this.
That's awesome, by the way, that you guys did that. That you guys do that.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Okay, well, what about numbers, Fuzzy? What do you buy the land for, or like this one, for example? And what's your build cost? What's your ARV?
Okay, so right now, because I got all my permits in, so right now I have total about 14 plans in the county, but that's not including the other ones that's already out right now that I'm working on.
Right.
I have a few that's in escrow. In fact, we just closed on one today, which is awesome because they moved back from the mainland. This was an uncle and auntie, and they moved back from Vegas, I believe, and they're moving into this house that we built. It's a 1,300 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. similar to what I just showed. It appraised at 315. We gave it to them for 255. So
Wow. Oh,
we
wait.
gave up 50K equity to them, because we wanted for them to be able to qualify and put themselves back into where they used to live. As a blessing, for us to be able to do that. We still make profit, right? Because we bought that lot cheap. Right
Mhm.
now, the lots are not as cheap. They quadrupled within the
Yeah.
last years. Yeah. So right now, lots that I was buying for 9 to 12K, they're going for 35 to 40K now.
Wow.
And my first deal where we built it for 165, we bought that lot for like 20K on an acre in Hawaiian Paradise Park. Hawaiian Paradise Park, they're selling for 80K and 100K for the 1 acre now. And
Yeah.
you can look on the comps if your realtors over there or on this thing, you can look at what has happened. Like everything's going up, and has,
Mhm.
and nothing really stays on the market. Like 0 days on market. The one that I just sold to them, we didn't even go through a realtor because they found out, they look at our social media and they're like, oh man, you guys have any more houses to sell? Like they're kind of, coming to us without even using a realtor. I do use a realtor and she's awesome over there. Her name's Jade Halama. And she's, if I don't sell it prior to getting it to her to list it, then she gets all my listings.
Well,
My
that's
my
awesome. What do you guys like? Let's talk about the economics of a typical deal out there. Purchase price now, like today.
so right now, people either message me because they're wholesalers. Dodge sent me one, and that one's gonna go to my cousin. So like that was awesome, Dodge. If he's on there or he watches his after, thank you, Dodge. I mean, my cousin was looking for a property. I was helping her to look for a property. I couldn't find it. I was gonna give her back her money, and then Dodge somehow it came from above and just anyway. Typical for my I'm looking for something that is at least a quarter acre, right? In Ainaloa. It's got to be at least
This is Big
22.
Island, Kilo
Yeah,
side. Yeah,
kilo side.
Kilo side.
I look like for my brand new builds, if it's all my partner's money, I only look for at least 80 to 100K profit, right? I'll look at less, but then because if I look at less, I gotta be doing at least 5 to 10 builds, and then it makes sense for me. It's the same, but you gotta remember it's the same houses over and over and over.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. Material lists are the same, colors are the same, unless it's side by side.
In a lot of ways, ground up construction is easier than flipping a house, in my opinion. When you flip a house, when you buy something and you walk through it, you can walk through that house like a zillion times and find something new every single time. I don't know if anyone's had that experience before, but it happens all the time. It's a massive puzzle, right? And just because if you take bids from a builder, maybe the builder's been building for like 3 decades, but it doesn't mean that they know how to flip a house. If you to renovate a house to what we need it to be, where you're keeping the eyes on the budget, and I've had a lot of learning lessons there. Layla's had a lot of learning lessons, mainly on from my decision making sometimes, but it's always, in my opinion, like with building ground up, it's simpler once it gets going, and then it's about momentum, right? And economies of scale seems to be very important for your operation. So because if you're all in on a deal, paying all cash or a partner's capital, like how much? Like 200?
So yeah, I typically, like right now, I'm looking at if there's a partner who has funds in their account, And this is what I'm not saying I'm gonna do this anymore, but I'm just saying what I've done is I've had partners, joint venture partners that I've built relationships with. One of them, one of my first ones after the group that I did my first couple deals with, Frank and Cheryl Regal. I know Zasha didn't know them. My surf sponsor became one of my partners because he started seeing what I was doing, and he kept asking, and then I showed him, and now he's one of my biggest funding partners on one of my projects. So, but our split with me and him is 50-50. Same like Todd. Todd's somewhere in this thing. I told Todd, I'll do a 50-50 split with you. I don't know why, but somehow, Todd and his wife is good people, man. So like when I met them through Corey. They needed help to fix their place. I went over there, and somehow my mouth got me into working with him, So I just all I did was explain what I did, and that's how I got, a JV partner.
Yeah.
So with Todd too, it's like a 50-50 split.
Mm-hmm.
Todd's one was, I told him we could do it about 110 to 120, and then we ended up going over like 135. So a little bit over what I said, but my numbers were pretty much on spot. For the ones now, you're looking at maybe 200 to 225, depending on the purchase of the land.
Okay.
And the location is key. Like right now, Aina Loa and Hawaiian Paradise Park is like literally on fire. Like houses it's not staying on the market.
Right.
It's selling like crazy. So the one house that we built 2 years ago, the guy from Kona bought it for $350. Jade's got it in escrow at $450. So he made $100,000 profit within 2 years, and he gonna tax advantage that thing. He doesn't have to pay taxes, right?
Not the capital. If it's been 2 years, capital.
Yeah.
So when you came to, or when we finally were able to, because we had that conversation back and forth many times about trying to fund your deals with hard money,
Right.
and then maybe 1 year was more like, okay, this might be deemed rural, right? Because we can't lend in rural areas, but turns out it's not rural, even though it kind of is, because rural to our capital partners is something that's like more than, like, if there's no elementary school within like 50 miles or something like that, so technically, it's not rural because there's elementary schools closer than that, but even though it's out there, kind of in the boonies, it's being developed. So finally we're able to now lend over there. And then the other thing is more like, okay, what do you mean it's on catchment system? Like how come it's if it's on a catchment system, that means it's kind of in the woods. So it wasn't easy getting through that right. area, but I knew, like, I see the same opportunity that you have, and like where there's a need, there's opportunity, right? And we are in need of housing, affordable housing, and that area is you're catching it where you caught it kind of right at the bottom on the way up, right? And it's not even close to being done. I think it's going to be going for a few years out there.
I always, sorry to cut you, I always say, like, the Las Vegas analogy. Who would have thought Vegas would be Vegas? It's a desert.
Right.
They're not making land. So what happened was the developer developed, and he, like, for Big Island, it's so affordable right now. Like almost every local, if they put their family funds together, they could purchase land and hold it. The taxes are so cheap a year. It's like $200 a year.
Mm-hmm.
You could sit on it until, you build a shack on it. You start small, a tiny house, and you build upon it, right? But I'm not saying that, renting is not bad, but it's always nice to pass down something to your kids,
Yeah.
So,
Well, with the way you structured it before, so you would come in with private money, right, to cover the whole deal, right, which would run you roughly like 200,000 to 225. So you have to tie up 200,000 to 225,000 to build one house and make roughly like a $80,000 profit. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, so we just closed 6. How much in like gap funds did you have to bring in?
Oh, so to close, I think we had to bring right under, it was like 7 or 8K per property, which
Okay.
wasn't that bad. I think it was under 50K total to bring to the closing table. But all of my fees were wrapped into the loan, right?
Yeah.
All 6 was wrapped into the loan. And I only, like right now, I only owe, I think it was about 215 or 217 per house. The comps in this area that I'm building are at above 300 to 330, right?
Yeah.
And these houses that I'm building are pre-approved HPM plans, simple plans, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yep.
The ones that sold in this area didn't even have a carport, you know. So mine's one has a carport, and then good room for a family to afford. So I got to bring to the closing table 217 per house. If I sell it under 300K, there's profit on the table. You know, a local family comes to me, what can you afford? There's room for me to give back where I'm investing,
I love that. You got a big heart, Fuzzy. And if you how much in gap funding did you tie up with the hard money between the 6 though? Was it like, because
see, what I did was we put up the partner's money. He had 200, I think it was like 260K. 100K went to the building. The rest went to bulldozing, the septic, the planning, the surveying, all that to get us to that certain point. I was pushing forward with our own funds, even though I knew I was going to close on these loans or on this loan. I had a jump start on it. So right now we're already farming. I already got my first draws, right? You guys made it so easy. Like Justin made it so easy, and I was just like, shit. It's like, no, seriously, like I didn't realize how easy it was to leverage, but the loan stuff that you guys have, you guys put up 65% of the purchase of the land. We only got to put up 35%. And then what's tricky is you, like me and my partner, have to put up the first couple draws, but for the first part of the scope of work, and then we get refunded that back.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you something, Land Gorilla is amazing because you don't have to get an inspector out there. I just took pictures. I took pictures and dropped it in, and then talked to or emailed back and forth with the girl, and they already sent my funds.
Yeah.
And
our draw process, we cleaned it up a lot. Like we started kind of just like everybody else, using a third party fund control company. But when you guys are out there looking for hard money, it's important to ask, like, what's the draw process look like, And for our funds, we charge Dutch interest. Okay, so Dutch interest means that you're paying interest on your renovation and construction holdback from day one. So most people, they don't want to pay Dutch interest, right? Because if you have a big construction budget, you're paying interest on funds that you haven't even used yet, right? So that's why it's smart of Fuzzy and Blaze to go and buy the land first, get it permitted and entitled, and then come for a construction loan. But the benefits of paying Dutch interest, meaning you're paying interest on the whole loan amount, even the holdback from day one, is that typically the reason why you're paying interest from day one is because the money's not going to be pulled from a credit line. Okay, so that it's usually money that's in the bank already. That's why they have to charge. If it's non-Dutch interest, meaning that you don't pay interest on the construction holdback until you draw, obviously it saves you money. But the bad part about that is typically they're pulling on a credit line, so the money's not there, right? It takes them a few days to pull on the credit line, and it took me a while to understand how the draw process worked on the back end, and so there is benefits to using Dutch interest loans, and it depends on what situation you're in. But when you have, you want to ask what their fund control process is, and is the money sitting there? Is the construction holdback sitting in an account ready to deploy? Because you want to know this, because I've waited 3 weeks on a draw before. Ask Layla. We've waited like a month before on a construction draw, and that'll kill the project. It'll kill the momentum in the project. You'll lose crew. Guys get sick of waiting. They have to move on. And then if they come back, then they forget where they left off. And so you don't want to lose momentum. And if you're using if your lender is using a fund control company and hiring a third party inspector to go out and take pictures, they got to call the inspector. The inspector has to check his schedule, see when they can go, and then they go out. They take photos of the line items. And most of these inspectors they're not building inspectors. They're basically just picture takers, like glorified picture takers, and it causes problems sometimes. So after they go out and take pictures, they typically have to put a report together and then send it to the fund control company. The fund control company has to review it, and then sometimes it gets kicked back and forth. So you can get lost in the draw process if it's not efficient. And we were getting lost in the draw process, and all of our friends who we're giving money to have problems. So we're constantly trying to get better, right? And so if Fuzzy took this a loan from us maybe a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago, it wouldn't be easy, so we had to pivot and really press. And I think that's what gives us the advantage of being investors as well, is we know the pain points in the process. And I'm happy to hear that it's going okay with you, Fuzzy.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was like scared because I'm doing this strictly with a phone. Like I have a desktop at home, but when am I home? I'm never home. I'll go home to my wife, of course, but because then she would kill me. Anyway, but like I was saying, like it's so easy. I could do it on a phone. Like any Fuzzy can do it. With like the Land Gorilla, like by far is simple. So seriously, if I can do it, like anybody can do it with your guys' program or your loan program. But so I have 12 months to pay you guys back. But right now I'm ready for me. I'm going to start pouring concrete on 4 of the projects. They're bulldozing the other 2. And by then, I already got materials ordered for framing once we pour the concrete, and we're framing up these houses. Within the next 2 or 3 months, we should have houses already, closer to the finish line.
Yep.
And, gives me plenty of time to get these done so that I can have less gray hairs, and pay you guys back. And then maybe, do it again,
Yeah.
But the county in Hilo, they just changed the code in September, building code September 1st. Now you got to put trusses 1 foot on center, and you got to sheet your roofing now, which the cost for me to build is going to go up.
Right.
Materials and labor. So I really gotta, run my numbers again, to see where I gotta go, what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, just off of like doing the numbers in my head, instead of tying up maybe 200 to 225 or 250 to do the entire project. That meaning you to buy the land, do all the construction, all the, you know, any closing costs. If you're all in for between 2 to 250, typically you are funding it with private money pretty much 100%, right? So you're tying up 2 to 250. I think the gap that you had to bring in was roughly like 75,000 behind hard money, right? So I'm trying to compare the differences between leveraging and not leveraging. Like, what does that look like, right? Like,
Let's see.
is it like 100,000 or so?
Like because this 6 properties, I needed to snatch them up quick, and then the your guys, the timing was kind of little slow, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have used you guys to purchase it through escrow and all that stuff, but I needed to move forward, you know.
No, but it's probably it's that's the best way to do it, because that way you don't have to pay interest on the whole loan amount, right?
Right.
You just
Right.
just buy the land, get your permits and get it entitled, and then come and refinance with a construction loan, right?
Right. And I think that's what we did. We refinanced the
Yep.
6.
Yeah. So if you had to do 6 deals the way that you were funding it, then that's like 1.2 million of private money that you'd be or your money that you'd be tying up, versus I'm guessing maybe let's just say 100,000. That might be on the high side, but maybe 100,000 to do a deal if you're leveraging hard money. So it's almost half the amount of cap. It's almost like you can do twice as much because you leverage with hard money, right? Now,
Yes. Yeah. So you think about it, we only put up we put up like 250,000. We got
Right.
1.3 whatever. So what is that like? You know, that's we're getting
yeah, so
that.
you're tying up 250 to do 6 deals, right?
Yeah, but we're getting that 250 back. You know, it's like,
oh yeah,
the number, like the only reason why I use this thing is because it just made sense. You know, at the time, it didn't make sense to me because I hate hard money. I never like.
yeah.
I'd rather give a partner and split profits. You know, and like most of the partners that I have, they don't have any interest on their money. You know, so we can take as long as we want to finish the project.
Yep.
But what
They're equity partners, right?
Right, equity partners. But with this hard money stuff, now I gotta get my ass into gear and make sure that these projects get done, you know,
Yeah.
faster. So I'm
Yeah.
pressing my guys more than I'm usually more than I usually do. So
It's good though, right? Because
yeah,
like, we gotta feel the pressure sometimes, you know, like otherwise, yeah. Like I think it is, and I'm happy to hear that the experience has been good so far, you know, and obviously like for anyone, especially in Hawaii, like if there's problems, like that's the other benefit of working with us is we can typically, you know, help or step in, or at least go have a conversation with our partners in DC and let them know like, hey, we're working on it, give this guy a break, you know. So we don't just cut loans, like we're here to help everyone scale. And that's what I think Fuzzy was perfect, because over the last years he learned it, you know, it was new. He's building his systems and his crew and his team. Now he's at that point where, okay, maybe you are ready to scale, you know, and start doing 6 at a time, or even though you're doing more than 6 at a time, but like, you know, leveraging hard money, you can do maybe 2 or 3 times the amount with the same amount of cash tied up, is basically what the point I was making. And what's next for you, Fuzzy? Are you gonna go to like 12 or?
well, right now, you know, there's a lot on my plate. Like I function easier when I have more stress on my plate. Like I don't know, it just works that way. The more busier I am, you know, the less I stay out of trouble.
You know what we call that? You're a game time player. You know.
Yeah, well,
You
I'm a
rise to the
workaholic.
occasion.
I'm a workaholic, but I like to play a lot in the ocean. So So I'm setting my future so where I don't have to work, but really like all my systems on the Big Island is running itself right now. I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm in not Dana Point. I'm on San Onofre. The WSL is right down below. I was just surfing early this morning at dog patches, and I'm corresponding with my team back home through my phone, through emails, through Venmo, through PayPal, through my mom lives on the Big Island, so she picks up materials for me, drops them off if I needed to while I was on away, so it can be done, like I grew up without, so my burning, desire was to give my family what I never had. Well, that's why I do what I do, like, but pretty soon I'm gonna just become a lender like you guys.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot of stress on this side too. I've been finding, but like it's different when you're signing on the loan rather than giving it. So but thank you, Fuzzy, for jumping on today. I wish we had more time because Fuzzy has such a great story. Is a great guy. A lot of things that you can learn from him. Don't let his lifestyle, his I guess the hangout lifestyle. I don't even know how to say it, like what to call it, but don't let that fool you. Like Fuzzy is a smart guy, and we've done many deals together already. I remember the first time I met you. I think we were going in the same deal, right? Like we're putting bids on the same property out in Kalihi. It was like a condo
with Dante.
Yeah, suck in Dante. He'd line up the two buyers, so me and Fuzzy were there at the same time. But
Corey. Hey, Corey, what?
How much you gonna offer? No. Did you get that deal? I didn't get it.
No.
Oh, I wonder who got it, but yeah. But I've known Fuzzy a long time, and I truly mean it when I say it. Like I trust this guy with my life, and if anybody is interested in, seeing what he's up to on the Big Island, feel free to reach out to Fuzzy. And Fuzzy, maybe drop your contact or however you want people to link up with you.
Okay.
He's doing great things. Todd is out there too with Fuzzy in a couple, and I think it's very necessary for, especially in the times that we're in now, where the housing market's on fire right now, and prices are going up. People are getting priced out. That's a fact, and it's not showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon. So, but with that said, there is areas that where development is needed and encouraged, and out where Fuzzy building is that area. So you not only get to maybe make some money onside him, but also like be a part of helping others, local families, people get into an affordable house on the islands. So thank you, brother Fuzzy.
I just seen the median house in the wall, makes me want to cry. $1 million already.
It was a matter of time.
Oh, the heck is local families gonna freaking buy something like that?
Oh, it was $1,050,000. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But everybody who's, like that's one thing. Like I got 1, 2, 3. I got 5 houses stuck in permitting right now. But like it's gone up. It's appreciated $200,000 over the last 8 months. So. And I don't know whether or not to be happy about that or not. Like it's kind of scary. So everybody just gotta, stay disciplined in markets like these for sure. I don't be afraid to celebrate. Like I think it's great times for sure, but also like be disciplined. Sometimes you have to be pragmatic. So
yeah, I mean, if you guys can reach me at, I'm not sure. I'm like, how to press anything to leave. I'm at High Fuzz on Instagram or Puka
Is there an
Pocket.
underscore in there?
No, High
I'll
Fuzz
type
is
one.
straight up. I think the Puka Pockets one is there's an underscore between Puka and Pockets. And you message me there. Any question, like, I'm more than happy to help.
Yeah.
Because the planning, permitting, all that stuff, like we didn't even go over all of that. Like, if you don't have somebody that knows what they're doing from the start, Corey will tell you this, it takes super long because you got to make corrections and like the county is I tell you, in Hawaii, the whole Hawaii county, the DPP is back asswards.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And sometimes it's, you look at the feds, they went in there. Sometimes it's who you know that could help you get faster plans, and it's sad because our uncle and auntie looking to get plans, their plans go to the bottom,
Yep.
and they're sitting 2 years waiting for their permits.
Yep.
1 year, 2 years and that's not fair. So
It's a
something's
big
got
problem.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's a big enough problem where I think that it's a big reason why the cost of living in Hawaii is so high, because there's developers don't want to come here, and there's responsible development and irresponsible development, and the responsible developers, they don't see the profit, like it's too risky for them because it's a crap shoot sometimes. But if you do have the systems in order, like Fuzzy, then you can contain the beast to a certain extent, and that's enough to make a calculated decision to go forward, because development is riskier, but it doesn't mean that it's usually it's riskier, but there's a bigger payday, right? So it's worth it. Doesn't mean it's not worth it. Just gotta watch your back, especially if you're taking debt. So
but, you learn, like, even if you just gotta take everything as a learning experience. Like even if something bad happens, just turn it into a positive, because now you know what not to do next time, or but
yeah,
I think if I can do this, like, seriously, I must, like, full on local boy now. How the heck can I get people that have money to throw it in my bank, 100K, 200K? I gotta be doing something right, but it's because I learned the language. I put myself out there. I mean, everybody can do it, anybody. Just gotta put time into it and make all the mistakes.
Yeah, I would love to bring you back on, Fuzzy, one day to talk about the more and focus more on the process and dive in more on the process of development, because I mean, look, if a few investors who only flip houses, can here and there take down maybe a 4-house CPR project or something ground up, like that's 4 more houses that's going to be on the market. That's a lot more jobs that's going to be provided, a lot more private lending positions open to help people grow their accounts and their wealth. So I think we can help people. We can attack this problem like one bite at a time, and it starts with education, like you said. It's just, let's help others understand, like, how the do's and not to do's in development, and I have just a basic knowledge of development, enough to build a few single family homes. But there's knowledge that Fuzzy has, dozens of deals under his belt, ground up, seeing the process through and solving problems as you go, where like that's knowledge that like a lot of people cannot teach, and it's not really available, right? So I'd love to bring you on to talk about the process more, maybe another time, so
What we'll do is, link back within the next 2 or 3 months, and then I can walk you guys through the project. that I'm doing, and then see what stages it's in, what the hurdles I have to go through, and go over, the whole process, from start to finish.
Well, thanks again, Fuzzy, and thanks everybody for jumping on another Coffee Talk Friday. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Usually I hang around, but I gotta jump on another call in a little while. So I'll see you guys either in the Facebook group or next Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Aloha. Thanks, Fuzzy.
Aloha. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Have a
See you
good one,
guys.
guys. Aloha.